Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles! Let me get a hell yeah!
Hey, what is up, guys? It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. Party on Broad can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Make sure you drop a comment, hit that like button, comment below. We want to make this as engaging as possible, and make sure you subscribe here at the Painted Lines YouTube channel. Today is the Philadelphia Eagles preview show. Joining me today is my man, Dylan. He is the host of the Faithful Fanatics podcast. You can find that pod here at the Painted Lines YouTube channel or on Twitter at Faithful Fans, anywhere you find your podcast. What's up, Dylan?
Well, Dodge, I see you got another burner account over here already starting. No, yeah, man. You're right, though. I'm going to try to keep this an Eagles preview show and not an Eagles reaction show, because I can't say that I'm quite over Sunday's debacle yet, but should be a fun show, man.
We have the Joe Show Philly Sports Talk joining. He's always going to be Wild Wild West to me. He says, I'm going to go against the Eagles, being realistic. 21, Rams 31. We have Kyle joining. He is Mikel_Ice on Twitter. What's up, man? Thanks for joining. VHS Now is joining. What's up, everybody? What is up, VHS Now? Thank you so much for joining. But today we are breaking down the Eagles matchup with the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to do a quick take on week one, and then we're really going to break down the top storylines. We're going to discuss the top matchups, do some stat predictions with all the top Eagles players, over-unders kind of stuff. And then we're going to make our game predictions and our final thoughts. My man Rob, he'll be joining us in a little bit. He's handling some house business. But let's start off with the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Los Angeles Rams. Your Philadelphia Eagles have won 11 of the last 14 games against the Rams. They've won 6 straight since 2005. Little good mojo going on with the Eagles. But Dylan, lead us off, man. What are your final takes from week one?
How long do I have? Man. I'm really trying to put week one behind me, just like the Eagles need to do, starting yesterday, actually. But my final takes are that offensively, they just weren't good enough across the board. I thought defensively they were fine. The Washington football team did not have a scoring possession over 50 yards. I had, in fact, not over 48 yards. I believe if my math is correct, they only had around 260 yards of total offense. So just to put that together, 260 yards of offense equal 27 points. Field position, ladies and gentlemen. And if you listen to my reaction pod yesterday, I'll talk more about it this Thursday on the Faithful Fanatics. To keep it quick and simple, the offensive line was horrendous. The comeback from Washington started with Carson Wentz. The blame starts with Carson Wentz, but it doesn't end there. The blame goes on to Doug Peterson because he did nothing to adjust. He coached a god-awful game, probably the worst game in the Doug Peterson-Carson Wentz era. You ran the ball 15 times with a 17-0 lead and a 10-point lead at halftime. You didn't roll Carson out of the pocket. That worked so very well in the last 4 weeks of last season. You didn't work in any of the screen game. You didn't try to get the ball out of his hands quickly. And not only did you not try to get the ball out of his hands quickly, you kept forcing the ball down the field. So to wrap it up, I know you guys talked about it on the post game. Went off yesterday. It starts with Carson Wentz, but for everyone that was just torturing Carson after that loss, it doesn't stop there.
All right. Now we got my man, Rob. He is joining us here, the co-host of the Party on Broad podcast. He is at Philly_Madness. What's up, Rob?
I thought typically by today I'd start to feel a little bit better. And I actually woke up and was angrier today as this thing continues to set in. And part of it is, I wore my Jackass shirt for a reason today. It's for Doug Peterson. It's for a couple of the players. But it's also for this fan base, who I now remember why I began hating them oh so much last year. And it's because of the morons out there who are actually taking victory laps so far this week because Carson Wentz, I told you so. You people are baffling. You're baffling. Like they totally turn a blind eye to everything that he's done and just focus on the negatives. The fact of the matter was this was Carson Wentz's worst game as a Philadelphia Eagle. But guess what? Guys have bad games. You think how Tom Brady do the other day? Tom Brady did good? The guy still was 5-time Super Bowl champion, so I want to hear it. So I am calling out all jackasses on tonight's show. I thought it was going to be a fun show for me, and I was going to be nice and cool. I even tried to put the glasses on to try and bring a little maturity to this. Nah, screw that. I'm going off on people today.
Rob, those same people are the same ones that wanted Nick Foles to stick around in Philadelphia. And Nick Foles found himself out of a job in Jacksonville to Gardner Minshew and then couldn't beat out Mitch Trubisky in Chicago. So
yeah, somebody called in Missinelli yesterday and said, well, I mean, I just think if Nick Foles was here, the system fits him perfectly. Nick Foles didn't beat out Mitchell Trubisky, guys. Not Mitch Trubisky. I mean, come on. Stop it. Just stop.
Right. How would Nick Foles have fared with that right side of the offensive line on Sunday?
God. It would have been 12 sacks because the 4 that Carson got out of, he wouldn't have got out
of. Rob, any final quick takes on week 1, dude?
Yeah, you know what? And look, I, in no way by me saying what I'm about to say am I trying to take blame off of Carson Wentz because a lot of blame has to go there. But the more I've thought about it, Doug Peterson should catch the most blame. And I say it from this standpoint. You did nothing to help out your quarterback whatsoever. You ran the ball 17 times, and you never went. And when you were up 17-0, you kept throwing. Okay, I know it wasn't working. I know it was a struggle, but damn it, you have to at least try. That's the first thing. Secondly, when I thought about it and I went back, I don't remember them throwing one quick slant in that game.
Yes.
He didn't.
Speed doesn't just mean run your guys on fly patterns. You know what I mean? It's run the crossing routes, run those intermediate routes. It's what I said before the game. Doug Peterson, we give him a lot of leeway, and granted, he won a Super Bowl, and he should be lauded for that, no doubt about it. But we have to start holding this guy more accountable for his non-in-game adjustments. He doesn't do it. He doesn't change his game plan ever.
Nope.
I said this yesterday. Go ahead, Dutch.
Go ahead, man.
I said this yesterday, and it's the fact that, yes, because Eagles fans live in that 2017 year when it comes to Doug Peterson. He gets that card. Carson Wentz, who is the reason you got the 1 seed, who is the reason Nick Foles had home field advantage to get to a Super Bowl and ultimately win a Super Bowl. And Carson Wentz doesn't get that card. No. There's no, Carson's playing. Carson had a bad game, but Carson was an MVP level in 2017 that won us to help win us a Super Bowl.
People ignore the 11 wins he got for them that year, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's a nice segue to the Rams. We have Kyle saying Eagles will win this game. Offensive line will have a good day. Some guys will return. Lane Johnson will be back. He just said today, I believe, he will be back. Carson won't have another meltdown. He also says Rob is spitting facts. I think that was about Doug Peterson. We have some guy named John. Thanks for joining, though. But he's saying it's all about New England and the Seahawks. That's because you don't have a guy like Julian Edelman. I don't know what's happening. The Eagles aren't going to win next week. Sorry, not sorry. All right. Get out of here, John.
Thanks for watching, John, man.
Yeah, appreciate you tuning in. I don't care about New England, Seattle.
All right. My final take on week 1, you touched on it, Rob, has to go straight to coaching, man. We did season preview pods on basically every team in the NFC East prior to the start of the regular season, and it was unanimous. Like, the biggest advantage the Philadelphia Eagles had this season lied in head coaching and coaching. And with the shortened off season, with every team and all the NFCs getting brand new coaches, I thought the Dougie P variable was real. And what we saw on Sunday was the same old Eagles. It was the same old Doug. It was the same old inability to make adjustments. It was the same old slow, stale offense that we have seen since 2018. I've never seen a coach just take what was working, but not only what was working, just refuse to adjust and refuse to go back to it. I know Carson Wentz was horrendous. We talked about how Doug and Howie was going to install all this speed and all this creativity into the offense this season. Week 1 was an absolute joke on a coaching level, on a quarterback level, and even further on a front office level. Some of the mistakes that I saw from Doug Peterson, he failed to get D-Jax and Jalen Rieger the ball in space, put them in a position to thrive, which is yards after catch. He hung Carson to dry by starting a right side of an offensive line that didn't play at all together during camp. He went away from Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert for a significant duration of time after it was absolutely dominating the Redskins. They had no answer for it. We saw way too many step backs from Carson Wentz. The screen game, I don't know what the fuck is happening with the Eagles screen game, but it has been non-existent for years. And you would think Dougie P, coming from that Andy Reid tree, would be able to pick it up. It has been non-existent. He went for it on 4th down when the Eagles were up 17-14. Carson gets sacked. That can't happen. He left the defense dead to rights. 6 trips. The Washington football team had the ball in their own territory to start. That is inexcusable. You were raising your hand, Rob. Go ahead.
Well, you talk about the screen game. Here's my issue, right? And this has been my issue now for a couple years with him. What is with all the lateral friggin' plays where they're just running east to west? All of his screens are east to west screen. What happened to the old setup of a screen? What happened to the fake one way, come back to the tight end screen the other way? What happened to the reverses? Your offense was so damn vanilla. And guess what? If you would have just stuck with the one play throwing to the middle of the field, you might have been okay. But then it's just he outthinks himself and he goes, I'm never going to stop being aggressive. Well, when you're up 17-0 or 17-6 and it's 4th and they haven't moved the ball all day, punt the goddamn ball, Doug.
My grandmother could call a better offense. You see Doug with a playbook, literally staring him in the face, like 2 inches from the face, like it's a fucking COVID-19 mask. Watch the game. Yeah. Watch the game. He had no feel for that game. Go ahead, Dylan.
No, he has no feel, and that's another thing that baffles me about him right now is his post-game comments. Like, as the leader of this team, as the head coach of this team, you called a shitty game. Fall on your sword. Own it. You had a 17-point lead. You did nothing to help your quarterback out. You did nothing to help your offensive line out. You did nothing correct, okay? Take part of the blame. He doesn't do that, and then he says he had the one comment, Rob, that you said about how he'll never stop being aggressive and blah, 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 which, whatever. The other one, when they asked him about the run-to-pass ratio, and he said, when he's in the middle of calling a game, I'm paraphrasing, but when he's in the middle of calling a game, he doesn't know the numbers. He doesn't know how many rush. What? You have a 17-point lead. How do you not know to run the football?
Yeah.
Situational football.
I ran some polls where it was like comparing Brett Brown and Doug Peterson's inability to make adjustments. And I also found another poll that I thought was really interesting. It was the difference between, we have 2 type A personalities in Philadelphia. Actually 3. I'm going to include Ben Simmons in this with his refusal to shoot. But it is Joel Embiid's, lack of development when it comes to reading a double team and passing out of a double team, reading that pressure. And then it is Carson Wentz's inability to get rid of the ball again and again and again. It's just mind-baffling. Let's keep this show rolling because we got to get to the Rams at some point. We have Kyle saying, I love how the defense looked for the most part. I absolutely agree. That defense was absolutely – that's one of the positives. We'll touch on that with the Rams. Slade locked McLaurin down, 100% agree. We have Best Gamer 282. Thank you so much for joining. He says, some people may think I'm crazy, but I think Carson's a bad play. Has to do with offensive line. I fully agree with that, 100%.
There's truth to that, Chris, because Carson got happy feet. And how can you blame him? And I understand he holds the ball too long. I'm not saying he doesn't. But my God, on that 4th down play, nobody picked up the blitzer. Like, they didn't even attempt to pick him up. Once again, that's why you don't go for it on 4th down, because you got Jordan Mailata and Jack Driscoll out there who don't understand blitz pickup yet.
Another thing, I'm starting, and Dobbs, I know we have to get to the Rams game, but I'm really starting to lose trust in him too when he speaks, because all training camp, what did you hear? Matt Pryor. Matt Pryor not only doesn't get a start to replace Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, nobody. He's not even the first guy off the bench when Jack Driscoll goes down. Jordan Mailata is. Like, for 10 days before the opener, we heard Matt Pryor. Didn't see him one time.
Nope. All right. Let's keep this rolling. Let's talk about the top storylines between the Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, you got to start with the main storyline here, and that is Aaron Donald versus the Eagles' interior offensive line. The bad news, it begins and ends with Aaron Donald versus the woeful, beaten down Eagles interior offensive line. This guy's a beast. Everyone knows that. 2-time player of the year. He only had 1 sack versus Dallas during week 1, but he also managed 7 quarterback hurries and 2 quarterback hits. The dude was all over the place. Meanwhile, the Eagles gave up 8 sacks and 14 quarterback hits versus Washington. So all signs point to AD just going to jail for murder on Sunday. I'm legit terrified for my boy Carson Wentz. I'm going to be honest, guys. Lane Johnson, it was announced today that he is going to play, which is great news because when he's not playing and Carson Wentz is, they are now 6-11. 6-11. So any takes, Rob, on Aaron Donald and the Eagles offensive line?
Yeah, it's great that Lane Johnson's playing, but that doesn't help the interior, right? Like, are they going to really put Herbig back out there? They're going to give Matt Pryor a chance. This kid that they just signed off the Chicago's practice squad, is he going to get the chance at the guard position? Sayamalu, I've always thought was just And to be honest with you, what I think you're starting to see, and I love the guy, but you're starting to see Jason Kelce without that help of Brandon Brooks next to him is aging. He's losing a step. And now you're going to ask these 3 guys to go against Aaron friggin' Donald? Well, guess what, Doug? Okay? And I'm going right back to Doug. I don't even care who the team is that you're coaching, right? That's your job as a coach. You coach who's there. Can you please try moving the pocket or rolling Carson Wentz out away from Aaron Donald? Can you please try getting people on the move, misdirection, and try some new shit and stop dropping him back 7 steps and hoping that the line holds up? Because you do it this week, you will lose by 30 because you're not going to score. Bottom line.
Dylan.
Yeah, I think we saw just how dominant and strong Aaron Donald is against the Dallas Cowboys offensive line on Sunday night. But our history against him has actually been really good. In his 3 games against the Eagles, he's 0-3. He doesn't have a sack recorded. He doesn't have a forced fumble, and he only has 1 tackle for loss. Aaron Donald will still rush from the edge, and no, he won't. He'll be on the interior. So thanks for watching, buddy. But I agree. Lane Johnson coming back changes everything, in my opinion, but it doesn't help the interior. I don't know what you guys think. I don't think Herbig had a terrible game to start. I think Jack Driscoll actually played well before he went out with cramping. I don't know if Doug would actually – I think he's going to stay Nate Herbig. I would like to see Jack Driscoll play right guard. Obviously, going against Aaron Donald, I'm not saying he's going to slow down Aaron Donald, but I just think he gives you a better shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts also with Doug implementing a consistent running attack, whether that's running a draw, whether that's getting Jalen Rieger in motion. The Rams do it really, really well. You actually see a lot of wide receivers in the backfield, whether it's reversals. You see the Rams really implement a strong screen game. It's about Doug keeping the Rams defensive line off balance. And any take on that, Rob?
Listen, I'm so deflated about the offensive line. Like look, the first 3 drives, the right side of the line was fine, right? But then I watched Jack Driscoll pick up the wrong guy on a blitz 3 plays. Nate Herbig just seemed overmatched. I felt like Jason Kelce was in Carson's lap. If you think that you're going to just drop Carson, I know I just said it, but I'll say it again. If you think you're just going to do a straight drop back, you're not going to get the best out of Carson Wentz. Carson is at his best when he's rolling out. It's just that simple. It's just, and I don't understand. I don't think of myself as a great football coach. Like, I don't think I could do the X's and O's like these guys. But if I'm seeing that, why aren't you? You've seen what Carson does on the move. Just let him go, man. Let him freaking play ball.
But
Kyle says, go ahead, Dylan.
one thing real quick is the fact that I don't know, and again, it's only been one game, so we can't sit here and assume that he's not going to adjust for next week. No, he doesn't adjust in game, but week to week, he's normally been pretty good at it. Going back to the Super Bowl year, losing Carson Wentz, he redid his entire offense to fit what works well for Nick Foles. Last year for Carson Wentz, with all the injuries, he rolled Carson out of the pocket a ton the last 4 weeks. So, yeah, I agree 100%. So run a slip screen. Aaron Donald's going to be in Carson's face from the start of the game. Let him, after he gets in a couple times, let him come in one time and slip a running back or a tight end behind him and drop it off real quick. And you do that a couple times, he won't be as quick to come across the offensive line.
All right, Kyle says, as a unit, the Rams' defensive line is not as good as Washington's, but it's easier to scheme for just one guy. And I'll take my chances with Lane and Jason Peters versus Leonard Floyd. I just have nightmares of watching these Eagles running backs try to pick up a blitz. It was an absolute disaster in week 1. And I can't wait for this. Dylan, Thursday nights, Philly Faithful Fanatics. My man John's going to be jumping on your pod, man.
Listen, man, I don't know who you are. Jump on. Thanks for watching. I really don't know what you really want me to come back and say here, but tell me so.
Listen, Dives, you just talked about the running backs. This is why if you remember way back when we did our roster predictions, I said I'm saving a running back spot because the Eagles don't have the guy they need to be the backup to Miles Sanders. And if yesterday did not prove that or Sunday did not prove that to you, okay, I don't know why Devontae Freeman is not in here right now. I'm not saying he's going to make this team a Super Bowl team, but Devontae Freeman's been in the league. He's a bigger back. He knows how to pick up blitzes. Listen, I love Boston Scott. I love the guy. I love Corey Clement. He's a Glassboro kid. He's right from my backyard. But you saw that once again you went in with another position way too slim, which feeds my conspiracy that I have been spewing now for a couple weeks. Have I said it on here? Because I'll bring it out right now.
I'm not sure where you're going. Go ahead.
Conspiracy. Ready? This is my ultimate. I hate being this thought process conspiracy.
The Carson.
The Eagles, as a franchise, in their heads, are already starting the move on from Carson Wentz, and they're screwing him over to make him look bad right now. They're not filling positions of need. They let this friggin' offensive line who couldn't play in South Jersey high school football come in and play in front of them.
That's a whole other podcast. Go ahead. So you're thinking the Eagles are leading more towards a rebuild than actually contending purposefully?
I'm thinking that there was more to the Jalen Hurts pick than just having a security blanket.
All right. Let's keep it rolling. Dylan, any storylines to watch for versus the Rams?
There's two, in my opinion. Well, there's more than two, but the two that stick out to me are, we keep going back to them, Doug versus Sean McVay. Look, I think that's always going to be a storyline. When they came into he got the Rams job, Doug got the Eagles job. Doug has yet to, and every head coach power ranking that they put out, they rank Sean McVay ahead of Doug Peterson. Doug has never lost to him head to head, even when they were 13-point underdogs 2 years ago on that Thursday, was it Sunday night game? And also when Doug went on to dropped 41 points in the Super Bowl against the Patriots team, the same Patriots defense that Sean McVay dropped 3 points against the following year in the Super Bowl. So that's one, especially because of the game that Doug coached. Sean McVay is coming off a high and beating the Dallas Cowboys, who everyone's high on once again this season. The Rams, to me, I thought the Rams were going to be in the basement of the NFC West. They looked really good Sunday night. Doug called the shittiest game of his career on Sunday afternoon. That's got to be a huge turnaround. And the other is two guys that are going to be linked together for their entire career, and that's the number 1 and 2 pick of the 2016 draft, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz. Especially same kind of theme going here. The way Carson started week 1 then finished in the second half of week 2. Jared Goff's coming off a win against the Cowboys to start the season. Look for both guys just to turn around.
Awesome. You're up, Rob. Anything?
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, I believe in the ebb and flow of the NFL. I do believe in that a little bit, but without fans, it changes everything. Like if this was an Eagles home game with a sold-out link, I'd be all on the Eagles to rebound. But listen, I said it on the Madness going into last week. They are an average football team right now. I disagree with John Matt 25 that they need to rebuild already. That's not what I was saying. I'm saying that's what they might be thinking, not me. Okay, that's not what I'm thinking. But this is going to be one of those situations for me where until they prove to me they can play a full 4 quarters of football, because what I also think happened was they got the lead. They didn't have Miles. So they said, oh, man, this team, they quit already. They packed it in, and they took their foot off the gas. They're not good enough to do that. They're not good enough to do that. I think, listen, let's not forget about Jalen Ramsey out there, okay? You got to be careful of that guy. So, yeah, they might only have Aaron Donald on the defensive line, but they have a corner that Washington did not have, and, you saw what was happening there. You got to go quick. Don't give this team a chance to get in Carson's face. Quick plays, quick hitters, run the ball. Hope to God Miles Sanders is back, and maybe there's a chance because the defense is good enough. I'll tell you that. The defense is good enough.
Yeah, and that's a nice segue. I'm going to go into my last storyline, and I think that revolves around the lack of playmaking from Jim Schwartz's defense. I thought they played really well, really, really strong on Sunday. They gave up 27 points, but and they played really well, especially on the all-important third down. Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox, both look solid. Rodney McLeod, that was great. We finally got to watch an Eagles secondary gang tackle and make pass breakups for the first time, and it felt like years. I was really impressed overall with the Eagles secondary. However, the name of the game in the NFL is creating turnovers, and the Eagles laid a goose egg on Sunday. So while Doug and Carson attempt to get their shit together, I think it's really important for Jim Schwartz that he must put a plan together that involves creating turnovers, getting into Jared Goff's face, whether it's fumbles or strip sacks or interceptions, you name it. We saw last week the Rams love to use their wide receivers in that backfield, in the reversals. So this game's going to be on Jim Schwartz again. I don't really have high expectations that the Eagles offense is just going to click like that. I think expectations have to even go higher for this Eagles defense to really kind of keep momentum in the Eagles' favor moving forward. And let's go to players' matchups. The top matchups in this game. I'll lead us off. I think I've got Malcolm Brown versus Malik Jackson. So the Eagles gave up 27 points on defense, and blame goes straight to Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz. We already talked on that. But I thought that also the Eagles' defensive line played very well. And Malik Jackson was one of the biggest positives from that game, being a legit stopper on third and short. And his presence on that D-line could very well decide the tempo of this game. You saw the Rams. They played very well last Sunday. They gave up only 1 sack and 3 quarterback hits versus Dallas in week 1. And statistically, the Rams had one of the worst offensive lines in 2019. They showed significant improvement throughout the year last season. But they handled the Cowboys really, really well. Malcolm Brown, LA, they had 153 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. The Rams had 9 conversions on third down versus Dallas, the most conversions of any team in the league during week 1, and one of the best percentages of any team in the league in week 1. So Malik Jackson and the Eagles defense must set the tone in those third and shorts, third and 5s, if the Eagles want any kind of hope in winning this game. Go ahead, Rob. Do you have any top matchups for this game?
Honestly, I think look, you could say the Aaron Donald versus the offensive line, but we've already harped on that enough. I'm going to go back to Jalen Ramsey, and it's going to be Jalen Ramsey on the outside receivers. First of all, I don't know what the hell Doug Peterson is doing, only giving Desean Jackson 37% of the snaps. Either he's your number one guy or he's not. Get him on the field. But, I don't think that the Eagles have a receiver that the Rams are going to say, all right, Jalen, you're going to shadow that guy. So I think you're going to see him on Desean. I think you're going to see him on Rieger. These guys have got to make plays, okay? No matter who's covering them, they've got to make plays. The other thing is I think the Eagles have to take advantage of the tight ends on the linebackers. I don't think when I look at the Rams, their linebackers are necessarily strong. You have to take advantage of that. And listen, I've been the biggest supporter of Zach Ertz getting his money. I've been the biggest supporter of them doing right by Zach Ertz. But I'm going to tell you right now, Zach, don't go out there and put that shit effort up again. You're sulking, you're kneeling, your body language look like Joel Embiid and his immaturity. Don't do that shit, man, because that's going to turn us against you. Just go out there and ball out and make them have to pay you. Make them have to pay you. So they're my two matchups.
Dylan, any top matchups you're looking at?
I agree with Rob about how that Jalen Ramsey isn't going to just shadow one of the receivers all game long. The Eagles don't have a superstar receiver that he's going to need to do that for, especially with the fact that it doesn't look like Doug's going to play D-Jax 90% of the snaps again. He's going to ease him into the season for whatever reason. Mine's the opposite. Mine is the Eagles secondary. I agree. I think the Eagles defense played very, very well on Sunday against Washington. They do not allow 27 points if Washington doesn't get the field position they had for 6 of their last 9 offensive possessions. I think this Eagles defense is good enough to, if teams have to go the length of the field, 3/4 of the field, they hold teams to 17 to 21 points a week. I really do. But to me, it is Avonte Maddox. It is across from Darius Slay. It is because, Slay is – now, I don't know if Slay's going to follow one around. Like, is he going to follow Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods around? Whoever he's not on, they're both very, very good, fast receivers. Avonte Maddox cannot get tortured on Sunday. If Avonte Maddox gets tortured for 8 for 140, for 150, 160, it's going to be a long day. But I think the Eagles defense, I'll save that point for later.
Dude, my other matchup I wanted to watch was Avonte Maddox versus Robert Woods. That was exactly because you would expect Darius Slay to cover Cooper Kupp in this matchup.
I think you saw something from the Rams against Dallas where Robert Woods is becoming that kind of priority target. They like to run Cooper from the slot. So does that mean you're going to see Roby Coleman on Cooper Kupp? I don't know. Lot of different ways they could go. But Robert Woods, man, seemed to be like number one target of Jared Goff in that game Sunday night against Dallas. So, it'll be interesting. But once again, it's another thing where do the Eagles say, okay, you know what? Kupp's really good. Woods is really good. We're going to have to switch off and on. But you're right, Dylan. Avonte Maddox, when it comes to faster guys, makes me nervous. I thought Avonte played well the other day, but faster guys makes me –
except he dropped another pick. But actually, one more, Dives, is the fact that, sometimes big tight ends give us issues. And I don't know who's going to cover Tyler Higbee. None of our linebackers are going to be able to cover him. And Jalen Mills and Rodney McLeod are just too small, in my opinion. Yep. So that is one scary matchup for Sunday.
Nailed it. You just go back on Robert Woods. That dude is one of the most reliable and effective wide receivers in the NFL. Man, that guy especially torched in week 1 in that first drive. So that you saw the Rams go at him again and again and again. So Jim Schwartz better be ready, man. Get ready for those scripted plays by the Rams. They're going to be going towards Robert Woods. And then my last matchup here, I'm going Jalen Rieger versus Troy Hill. We all know Desean Jackson's going to be blanketed by Jalen Ramsey, but let's go to the other side. Let's go to this matchup, Jalen Rieger versus Troy Hill, and I am praying Doug watches that tape versus Washington and realizes all the missed opportunities. You touched on it, Rob. Where are the slants? Get Jalen Rieger the ball in space. Take advantage of his yards after the catch ability. So CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys' second wide receiver, had 5 catches for 59 yards on 6 targets. This guy, Troy Hill, had a really good camp for LA. So Dougie P has to get Jalen Rieger more involved in this offense if it's going to click. I think that is like bringing back the big play to Philadelphia starts and ends with Jalen Rieger, because who the hell knows what you got with Desean Jackson anymore. I just have almost utterly given up on Desean Jackson. Before we move on to stats, we got a lot of comments here. Nathan Woodridge joins. Thank you so much, Nathan, for joining. He says, I just want to say we played so good in the first half. but everything fell apart in the second half. Couldn't agree with you more, brother. Why did we not run the ball so it could go to half? I mean, you're going against a super, super strong defensive line. But you're right. That's Doug's ability. He's shown this over and over and over again that he abandons the run. And I know that the Washington football team's defensive line is very strong, but you got to counter that with some draws, reversals. You put Jalen. We talked all offseason, Rob, on how Carson Wentz is going to move Jalen Rieger all over the field and create mismatches and keep defenses off balance. We saw none of that.
No, and I think what Nathan's referring to is right before the end of the half, the Eagles got the ball back. They were getting the ball to start the second half. And instead of just running the ball and killing the clock and going in the half up 17-0, they're out throwing. I think that's when Carson's first interception came.
And I think it was under the 2-minute warning as well.
Yeah, it was under the 2-minute warning. So you throw that interception. Now, instead of being up 17-0 getting the ball to start the second half, you're up 17-7. Granted, you have to come out and make a play no matter what, but that can totally change and shift the momentum of the game. And yes, Carson's got to be better than throwing that ball. But why are you throwing in that situation? It's baffling. It's absolutely baffling.
We have Geekly Goods joining. What up, Leo? He said, what up, Dives? Thank you so much for joining, man. We have John saying, good point, Rob, man. This guy is right on the same wavelength as Rob.
I don't know if I want to be on the same wavelength.
All right, let's go on to Nathan. We will be fine once Sanders and Lane comes back. We will explode. Just watch. Mark my words. Man, I love the optimism. We're going to get into our game predictions really fast. Got to watch out for Van Jefferson and Josh Reynolds. Rams have weapons everywhere. I don't know if you guys saw Van Jefferson's catch on the sideline. Dude, that guy has hands, man. That's kind of like our matchups. Kind of going hand in hand with that because I think it's going to be at the end of the day which wide receivers make the most plays. So let's go on to stats, predictions. Let's lead off with Carson Wentz. As a lifelong Philly fan, I've had some dark days in my life, but none darker than that 2017 when Wentz went down. He had 291 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then that injury, which essentially took away his MVP trophy. Rob, lead us off. What are your stat predictions for Carson Wentz this week?
I just hope he's not sacked 8 times. That's my if I gotta have a prediction, listen, I am really hoping Miles Sanders is back because I think that plays a major role here. But I don't think they're gonna win if he's got to throw the ball 40 some odd times. So I'm gonna go with a modest 225, maybe 2 touchdowns. I don't think he throws the pick this week. I think, hopefully he got those 2 out because that's not him. That's not normally him to throw those bad balls like that for interceptions. So I'll go 2 touchdowns, no picks, 225 yards.
Sounds great, brother. You're up, Dylan.
Yeah, I picked Carson as my player of the game last week. I predicted that he wanted that he would play a clean game and not turn the ball over. I couldn't have been more wrong, but Rob's right. Putting the ball on the turf, fumbling the ball, not feeling pressure, coming around the outside from the left side on his blind side and getting strip sacked, that's Carson. We know that. Throwing picks isn't so much Carson. I agree. That's the stat. That's the area that I'm looking for a goose egg is in the turnover department because that loss to Washington does not occur without those 2 interceptions. But with that being said, I think it's going to have to be low 200s. I want to say 230, 240 passing, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. And I say that because it has to be a balanced attack. Last week couldn't have been more ass backwards of what Doug needed to call play calling wise, and it has to be a balanced attack because I'll get more into that in my game prediction. But.
All right, yeah, I just want Carson, like you said, keep his jersey clean, get some quick routes. None of the 6-7 step backs. Get the ball out. Get the ball out. Keep that defense for the Rams off balance. They've got some really dangerous weapons on defense. Keep that defense off balance. That's yard-wise, I think upper 280s is probably pretty good. I think that we can expect some big plays in this game. The offensive potential is definitely there, but I think you're right on it, Rob. I think we'll say like 250. I'll go 3 touchdowns and a pick. Let's go to Desean Jackson. Rob, you're up.
Like everyone was sitting there all game against Washington, wondering, oh my God, is he hurt? Is he this? Is he that? He came out and very adamantly tweeted that he was not hurt. He was fine. Even his mom took offense on Twitter to somebody saying that he was hurt. But once again, that leads me to believe Doug Peterson, I don't know what the hell he's doing. But if that's the kind of usage you're going to get from Desean Jackson, I mean, I can't give him more than 3 catches, 45 yards maybe. I mean, I want it to be more. It should be more. But if that's the kind of usage you're going to give him, he's not going to give you more than that.
And what's the point if they're not even going to throw the ball deep or Carson Wentz doesn't have his touch? Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, I fell for it last week, and I said that Desean, that Washington was going to game plan for Desean, but it wouldn't matter because he's still too quick and too fast, and he's going to beat you. That wasn't the case. I'm with Rob. Until I see it change, I'm not buying into it. So until I see him out on the field for more than, 54% of the offensive snaps, I'm in anywhere from 2 to 4 catches and not big. I'll say 4 catches, 55 yards in that area.
I don't know what to expect. I am almost completely detached from Desean Jackson. I'm essentially I don't know what to expect from this guy, and I don't even want to anymore. I don't care for this guy anymore because all he does is let you down. And we talked about this repeatedly, Rob, that Jalen Rieger is going to be thrown into being a major part of this offense way too soon. Well, guess what? Everything right now is pointing towards that. So a catch or two and 15, 20 yards. And that kind of leads me into J-Jaw of all the great talk from the media and J-Jaw saying, or the media saying that this guy is fantastic and he's really taking that next step. Wow, what a bum! What an absolute bum!
Even on the field? Was he even on the field?
I couldn't tell you.
He played 28 or 29 snaps, wasn't even targeted. Not kidding.
That's wild. That's wild.
We took him over DK Metcalf. Good job, Howie. Howie Banner, baby. Howie Banner.
I think Rieger will have around 450 yards on Sunday. I love it. Let's go on to Zach Ertz, and let's throw in Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert together. Rob.
Well, look, I think for the Eagles to be successful the way they're built, it's almost like in every week the Eagles tight ends as a duo have to have over 100 yards receiving. I just think that that's the way it has to be. I think they can get it done this week. It's not like there's this guy out there playing linebacker that I'm super concerned about covering those guys, even their safeties. I'm not. So let's say that the tight ends together maybe have about 8 grabs. We'll go for $125 and a touchdown from them. I still don't know if that gets it done in the win column, but I think that's what you're going to have on offense.
Dylan?
I need more than 8 grabs combined. I just do. I agree with you. I think that's where the game is going to be won passing wise on Sunday for the Eagles. If I'm combining them, I'm going to need the 12 to 13 catch range, 6 and 6, 7 and 5, somewhere around there, catch wise. $120 to $130, and at least 2 scores.
Yeah, I fully agree. You need that 10 to 15 catch range for your tight ends. You need Doug Peterson to not get away from using those guys. This is that Tom Brady, Bill Belichick line of thinking. That is your mismatch. Take advantage of it. Go for the juggler. Hit it again and again and again, because we saw it was so effective versus Washington. The Eagles cannot afford to just ditch it like they did versus Washington. And that's kind of where I look at the 2 tight end sets for the Eagles. That's why Desean Jackson's so effective in this offense. When you look at the 2 tight end set, what is the number one responsibility of a wide receiver in that offense? It's the ability to stretch the field, beat their man off the line of scrimmage. Not having Desean Jackson is a major, major issue. And I think that is just putting way too much responsibility on Jalen Rieger, who I think is terrific. But is he ready yet? And that's been a major concern this offseason I've had for a long time. Let's move on to Jalen Rieger. Rob.
Listen, I will give you this, Dibes. He showed me he's got the speed. There is no doubt about that. He showed me he can run routes because it wasn't a full-on double move that he hit Darby with, but it was like a partial double move.
He can track the deep ball.
And he could track the deep ball. And you want to know what else I like about the kid, right? Young kid, just in the league. When he's asked about the interception, you know what he says? I got to come back on the ball and do a better job for my quarterback. Not, I thought he would lay it out there a little bit better. Shut up, Nelson Aguilar. So listen, I think I have a feeling that you're going to end up seeing Ramsey on Rieger a lot. And I think that's going to – this is not my feeling on Rieger as a player. I just think it's going to hurt him a little bit going up against a guy of that caliber. I'm going to go 4 catches, 57 yards. I just don't know if he's going to be able to get the big play on Jalen. But if he does, Philadelphia is going to be talking about the next Hall of Fame receiver to wear the Eagles colors. So hopefully it happens.
Dylan.
Yeah, I agree. First of all, I think today he said everything correct. Not just that comment about fighting for the ball and giving Carson a chance. When asked about his injury, and he said that the docs told him 4 weeks, he looked at it as a challenge, and he said if he's not giving 110% of himself to the Eagles, what's he even doing here? He said everything correct today. The kid is a gamer. He wants to be out there. He showed his flashy speed. He hit Darby with a double move, tracked the deep ball. That was such an issue for Eagles wide receivers last season. So that was promising. The fact that it was that was his only catch, I don't know if that was more on him, more on Doug's game plan. I don't know. This week, I'm going to agree with Rob. If Jalen Ramsey is his main defender, I'll say 3 catches. But I'll say he gets one for. I'll say he breaks a slant for a little bit. So I'll say 3 for 60, 3 for 70, somewhere in that area.
All right, let's go on to game predictions. My man Kyle here says getting pressure on Goff will be key because he turns into a pumpkin when he's under duress. Could not agree more. Game predictions, Rob. Where are you going?
I'm going to go to low scoring affair because I think both defenses are going to outperform both offenses. And it's going to be, Chris, you talked about earlier, it's going to be who makes the big time turnover type plays on defense. Look, until they show me that they could win a game now, I'm going to have doubts. And when you play a team like the Rams with that defense and some of the firepower to have on offense, I think the Rams are going to win. I do. I'll give the Rams a 20-13 win. Hopefully I'm dead wrong. I mean, I'm normally wrong about everything I predict, so I'm really hoping to be dead wrong about this one.
You're up, Dylan.
Yeah, I don't know if I should – I'm going to say it. This is a must-win game. I don't care that it's week 2. I honestly think the next 2 weeks are must-win games. The first 3 games on the schedule, when the schedule was released, was said to be, 3-0, minimum 2-1, with the schedule coming up after that. Look, after the Rams and Bengals, you have at San Fran, at Pittsburgh, home against Baltimore. Then the rest of the season, you have the Cowboys twice. You have the Packers, the Seahawks, the Saints, the Cardinals. This schedule is torturous. I don't care that it's week 2. It's must win. I kind of think that Doug knows that. Game predictions. I'm with Rob that it scares me. I'm not too confident in Eagles win, but with what I just said being said, I do think that they win this week. Maybe I'll be a little bit more confident on Thursday night and then on Sunday during the pregame show. But it comes to a few things for me. One, offensively, it has to be a balanced attack. Obviously, it's obvious that he has to do something different in the passing game. Screen plays, quick hitters, slants, stuff, misdirections, everything like that to get the ball in your hands of your playmakers. But if you go back to that Sunday night win against the Rams that turned the season around in 2018, when we were down and out on the Eagles, Wendell Smallwood and Josh Adams went off that game. It was a balanced attack. I think that needs to happen again on Sunday. And that all comes down to if Miles Sanders plays. If Miles Sanders doesn't play, you're not going to get a balanced attack. You're going to get Carson 45, 50 pass attempts, and you're going to get 15, 16 rush attempts. That's just what's going to happen. I think I agree with Rob. I think this game is won defensively. I agree with the comment over here that the Eagles have to get after Goff and get pressure on him and not sit back. But as long as Carson protects the ball and doesn't turn the ball over, and this Rams offense has to go the length of the field, 3/4 field, I think this Eagles defense is going to be okay.
Well, is Brandon Graham going to play? He's in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Right?
Is there any update on that? I know he's just in protocol.
I haven't heard that. I don't know what's going on with Derek Barnett. Once again, there were about 5 defensive. You know what defensive end I saw making a lot of plays for Dallas? Everson Griffin. Don't know why you never even called the guy. It just makes zero sense to me. Hopefully, Josh Sweat continues to be a ruckus. I mean, my God, he had a pretty good game, it seems like.
All right, game prediction. For me, with the state of the Eagles' offensive line, like this game's going to be tough, guys. This is going to be really tough. Like starting the season 0-2 is staring at Doug Peterson straight in the face.
It can't happen.
I think this is a real gut check. This is a real gut check for not only Doug Peterson, but for my man Carson Wentz. All the doubters, all the haters are out. Carson Wentz is mediocre. Carson Wentz is not an elite quarterback. They are out right now, and they are ready to pounce. Who must absolutely show like a rebound is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has to lead the Eagles to a W this Sunday. My heart tells me the Eagles play really hard on Sunday and put together a much more balanced attack, a smarter game plan versus the Rams. But my gut tells me that this game is going to be won in the trenches, and I'm sorry. I'm legit terrified what Aaron Donald is going to do. I don't have any faith in the Eagles' ability to kind of scheme around Aaron Donald on Sunday, given that interior offensive line. But until Doug Peterson finally puts his players in position to succeed, get D-Jax, get Jalen Rieger the ball in space, start running the screen to effectiveness, run the quick slants, keep that Rams defense off balance. I'll believe it when I see it is really what it comes down to. I've got the Rams winning this one 28-23. And let's move on to final thoughts. Go ahead, Dylan.
Final thoughts. I'm just looking at this comment. I think the Rams will attack the run. Look, the strength of the Eagles defense for a couple of years now has been their run defense. I'm sorry. I know Malcolm Brown just went off for 140, 150 the other night against Dallas. Malcolm Brown and total yards. Okay. And Cam Akers don't scare me. I don't think that's where the game's going to be lost for the Eagles. Final thoughts. I completely agree. Carson Wentz needs to have a bounce back game. I'm so happy that there's no fans allowed in the link because the haters would be out and loud.
Wow.
Today.
Well said, man. Nailed that one. Yep.
But like you said, Dobbs, it comes down to him, yes, but he needs to be put in a position to succeed. And that comes down to Doug Peterson. So look for those two to have a bounce back game. If they do, the Eagles will be in good shape. If Doug has his head so far up his ass still, Carson's going to struggle, and the game can get out of hand quickly.
Get your head out of the fucking playbook. Watch the game. Watch the game. Read it. Go ahead, Rob. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. Final thought is Didi Gregorius just put one in the upper tank.
Hey. There you go.
Listen, here's my final thought. All right. And you know me, I try not to curse as much on these podcasts or say like the really bad words. It's not my style. But fuck 2020. Fuck 2020 for everything that is going on. Literally, if I seem distracted, guys, it's because literally I got an email as I was on the show that my school, after 2 full days of classes, has to go fully fucking remote because we have a COVID case, which means I have to go in and try and put all these friggin' sophomores on a team meeting, like in their scheduled period through 6 hours tomorrow. It's hard enough having them in front of your face. Now I got to try and do so. It's like between all the Philadelphia sports and all the bullshit. By the way, why are the Colangelo gang still in the fucking front office of the 76ers? Why haven't they going to change there yet? And the Phillies just lost 5 of 7 to the Marlins. So,
earmuffs, Dylan. Earmuffs.
Yeah, sorry, Dylan. So my final thought is, Doug, get your shit together, roll Carson out, move the pocket, and make me look like a dumbass and win the game Sunday so I can have something to cheer about come Sunday afternoon.
I love it. All right, my football is back, and it's just amazing how quickly I personally went from this feeling of like overjoy, happiness, doing Eagles fight songs with my daughter for the first time. We're high-fiving with my wife and I. We're having a blast. Then I just went straight to angry on Sunday night, and then I went straight to depression on Monday night. So
Sunday, I couldn't wait for Sunday and for football to be back, and it turned out to be such a shitty day. I was sick. The Eagles blew a 17-point lead to a JV team and lost. I lost in both my fantasy leagues. I didn't play Raheem Mostert in one. I would have won in that league if I played him. And the Indianapolis Colts lost to Gardner Minshew and blew a big parlay for me. That was my only loss in a parlay. Sunday sucked.
Dives, you talk about how great it was with your daughter. Now, Luca had to deal with me a little bit last season, but when Doug went for it on 4th down and Carson got sacked, I let loose on the TV, and my poor one-year-old son started bawling. I scared the living shit out of him. I scared the living shit out of him. He cried hysterically, and now I'm like, oh, great. And then I wanted to turn to the screen and say, see what you made me do, Doug? You're making me make my kids cry, you bastard.
Yeah, typically, like, I'm able to keep my emotions, like, in check at least, like, the first few weeks of the year. But, like, I think that the biggest fact here is that we're just getting over – or not just getting over. We're still dealing with the hangover of the Celtics sweeping the Sixers in round 1 of the playoffs. So, like, usually there's, like, a 3 to 4 month, like, recovery period where you're building anticipation and excitement. Nah, not this time, man. I'm in mid-season form right now, man.
Yeah, and Rob's right. With everything going on, I know this is an Eagles podcast, but if there's any Phillies fans watching this, I know they're winning 4-1 right now, and they're technically still in a playoff spot. Don't let what they're doing, like, be casted aside. Because with everything going on, with the Eagles loss, with the Sixers being swept, with the Flyers getting shut out in a Game 7, the pandemic, everything's going on, and the Phillies, who just had I forget how many game lead in second place, lost 5 of 7 to the Miami Marlins after winning 10 of 11, and now they're in fighting for a wild card spot.
And by the way, I want to put this out there to the Phillies manager because I know Matt Klentak's watching right now because he's got nothing better to do. He's stuck at his job. Matt, if you do not re-sign JT Realmuto after we've seen what Sixto Sanchez is doing, you are a waste of life, sir. You are a waste. John Middleton, you make $1 billion. Go over the luxury tax, you son of a bitch. Don't do it. Do not let this guy walk while Sixto Sanchez becomes a Cy Young Award winner.
All right.
The Mets are going to
get me off of here before I get us like fired.
Yeah, Rob, we're gonna do one more thing and then we're gonna do plugs. How many catches did Jalen Rieger and yards did Jalen Rieger have?
He had 1 catch for 55 yards.
How many did Justin Jefferson have?
You know what? I was so frustrated with the Eagles. I didn't even look at Justin Jefferson. I'm going to guess that he had 0 catches for 0 yards. Is that a fact?
He had 2 catches for 26 yards on 3 targets.
So he had more catches than Jalen Rieger.
We're going to be – all right, so long story short, Rob and I have gone back and forth on that since the NFL draft. Rieger, me, Jefferson, Rob, but it's all fun. Rob, anything you want to plug?
Got the Madness coming up Thursday. God only knows what's going to happen there with me and Jess. Jess seems to always be able to find the positives, okay, in things. Like she couldn't find the Monday. Like her Twitter was as negative as I've ever seen it. But there's a chance me and her are going to battle. Although my guess is most of our show will be defending Carson Wentz because we get more frustrated with the fans like cheering that he failed than him actually failing, if that makes sense. But tune in Thursday night at 8. Me and Jess running it back, right here on the Painted Lines. Make sure you're subscribing. And then obviously you can catch me on the post-game show with Dives, hopefully in a better mood this week than I was last week.
Yeah, last Sunday was not fun, man. We went off. Dylan, plug.
Spitballing tomorrow night with me and Mike Small. I believe we're starting at 5 tomorrow, possibly.
Yeah.
So I'll put that out. Faithful Fanatics podcast at 6 on Thursday night. I'll be talking a lot more about the Washington game, a lot more about this Rams game coming up. So if you love Eagles talk, keep coming back. And then Party on Broad on Sunday. I will be doing the pregame show. I don't know if I'll be available for the postgame show yet, but definitely keep an eye out and join us for the pregame show. We didn't have as many people as we wanted to come on last week. Come join us.
Yeah. Dives, if the Eagles lose, I might pull a you on one of your movie Matrix shows and come on and just fall asleep. I might that might have to be what I do. So I'm putting it out there now that if it's not going on, I'm just going to start chugging beers, and then I'm going to come on here and just pass out.
All right, so the quick sum of that story is we do a lot of drafts, like movie drafts, and we all pick movies, and I throw them for Suit Up TPL on Twitter and my Suit Up podcast, and we pick in a snake-style draft our favorite movies and throw it in a bracket, and Twitter votes for it. And I'm hosting it, and I got so drunk that I'm sitting here like this, like sleeping, hosting this draft, and it was like only halfway done. Anyway,
if the Eagles lose, it's not going to be a post-game show. It's going to be a group therapy session.
Oh, it already is. It already is.
I'm going to grad school for counseling. I'll see if I can slip a couple theories in there.
All right. Make sure you lock it down to thepainted.com. My man Shane wrote an amazing breakdown on review of the game from the Eagles versus Washington. Follow my man Dylan. Follow my man Rob. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. See you at the pregame show. Later, guys.